Kia ora team, Richard Liew here, editor at NZ Entrepreneur, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Tim Crown. Tim is joining us today in his capacity as the chairperson at Blackpearl Group, and Blackpearl Group just listed last Friday on the New Zealand Stock Exchange. I believe it was probably actually our first equity listing this half of the year for the NZX. So that's great. We've got some activity there. Tim, look, thank you for joining us today. Really looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. I love talking to entrepreneurs about startups. So that's a personal passion of mine. Yeah,
fantastic. And I know we've got a wealth of experience sat right here in front of me, which I'm going to tap very, very soon. But can you quickly just explain for us your role at with Blackpearl? Now, Blackpearl is actually a Kiwi company, I think started by Nick Lissette, maybe about 10 years ago now. My understanding is that the primary product is an app around email, helping people with large teams manage email. Can you tell us a bit about Blackpearl, and then also tell us a bit about the listing? It wasn't an equity raise, so there's no,
right.
So I'm quite curious as to the thinking behind and the timing.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about Blackpearl right now. So what Blackpearl really is a digital marketing tool built into email. It does offer signature as part of it, but it also offers that real estate underneath where it says from Tim Crown as an example. It's a place to, in essence, market and to go out and promote product, services, add-ons, accessories, or whatever it might be, or it could just be branding as an example. The goal of Blackpearl over time is to add additional companies in adjacencies, other communication database products. And I'm giving you the super down and dirty analysis of Blackpearl. But one of the things about Blackpearl that we're really excited about is the fact that the NZX is a very low cost way to list a company. We're direct listing, we're not raising capital. But this will give us a platform so that we can actually go out and issue more shares of stock in acquisitions. So we just acquired a company less than 30 days ago, and about 12% was in cash. The rest was in shares. And our goal would be to do a very similar thing going forward. So for us, it's a low cost way to get in the market now with roughly a $43 million market cap is what we're going to be at NZ when we went out. So big rough numbers, it's out there. The NASDAQ, as an example, has become so expensive that unless you're doing a 500 million US, billion US market cap, it really doesn't make sense to go out on the NASDAQ right now. So this is a great opportunity for us. Plus, it's a Wellington-based business, so why not?
Yeah, fantastic. And it strikes me, it's interesting because we have, in the tech space here in New Zealand anyway, we've had a number of New Zealand companies, startups, moving into that scale-up phase and electing to skip the New Zealand board altogether and go directly to, say, ASX or even aiming for NASDAQ itself, maybe not quite that level, but so quite interesting to me. Again, as you say, great that it's a local company backing our local bourse. Fantastic. Can you tell me about timing? Like at the moment, tech stocks internationally, they're not doing particularly great. They're having a bit of a hard time of it. As we know, a lot of jobs in the tech space going. What are your thoughts on that?
The big thing here is we're not really selling, we're just listing. And we're using that as currency to buy with. If you look over the past 2 or 3 years, there's been a tremendous amount of investment in startups throughout the world. Probably too much money got pumped in by the governments. And there's a lot of tech companies, startups in that kind of 1 to 10 million revenue range that really don't have a path forward. Their capital sources have dried up. Their ability to raise follow-on capital is very difficult right now. So we think it's a great time to partner with those entrepreneurs together. What's maybe different about Blackpearl is we're entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. So we're looking for people to partner with. So the reason we want to give shares is not just for consideration, but also, hey, come join our team. We're not looking for a quick hit. Hey, let's get in and out of the stock. This is a 3 to 5 year bet that we can build communication data products for small business not just for New Zealand and Australia, but 60+% of Blackpearl's customers right now are coming out of the US and Canada. So this is really where we kind of see it going. And so from that perspective, we think it's a great time. There's a lot of companies looking for partnerships, looking for capital, ways to get to market.
Let's talk about entrepreneurship. As I mentioned before, you've got quite a fair bit of experience, to say the least. So you're the founder and chairman of NASDAQ listed NSIT Enterprises. I believe you've been running that for 30+, 40 years maybe. So I'm interested in the backstory there. You employ, I believe, over 10,000 people around the world, and net revenues approaching sort of US 10 billion per annum. Now, for a little small entrepreneur sat here in New Zealand who may be watching this, but with big dreams, when we talk to people like yourself, who just have so much experience and seem to have done it all, so to speak, on the entrepreneurial, if you were to sit there and write out what you want to achieve over the next 30 to 40 years, I'm sure a lot of people would say, hey, Tim's done that. But it can be daunting. So I wonder if you might rewind for me a little bit back to the very beginning days. Can you tell us a bit about how NSIT Enterprises got started?
Go back, I was 23 years old. I joined my brother and we took a cash advance on a credit card of $2,000. And that in essence was the initial business, which was mail order hard disk drives. Back when computers needed a 20 or 30 megabyte hard drive, we went in the back of computer magazines with a little teeny ad, and we would take the phone calls, buy the product, ship the product. And that was the first couple of years. And then the business morphed into adding additional products. And then over years to come, software, services, solutions, where today we're really a solutions integrator, where we do everything from nationwide rollouts of retailers, all the way to 4,000 technical professionals in the US that'll actually write custom code, whether it's APIs, front-end applications, back-end applications. So when you look at where the business has been from 1987 to now, it's really gone through half a dozen iterations. And I should point out, no one believed in us. In fact, we didn't take a dollar of outside capital or even have a bank line until we went public in January 1995. But along the same lines, that first 2 years, I always call it being in the wilderness. We're trying to figure out what are we doing, who are we selling to, what are we selling, what price point. And at no point in that first 2 years did we feel like we had our arms around the business. Every day, every week, it's like, okay, we look at each other like, is this the right path? Is this the direction we should go? And in my history, I've probably done 50 startups where I've been one of the primary or the initial funding sources. And not once has the business plan actually played out exactly how it came down. I'm a computer science guy. My brother's a computer science, computer information guy. And we actually started writing custom code. That was how we thought we were going to get into it. Then we saw the opportunity to sell hard disk drives. And we jumped on that and stopped writing custom code. But at no point did we think that we were going to go become a hardware reseller. It never occurred to us. So one of the things I tell entrepreneurs is you can have a strategic direction and even a very specific plan, but that pot of gold may be a mile away or a kilometer away. But the reality is what if you see a pot of gold right next to you? Stop what you're doing, pivot the organization, especially in a small startup, and relook at your business. Is there a better business out there? And again, of the 50+ deals I've been involved with, not a single one ended up doing what we thought it was going to do in the end, because we found either a roadblock that we couldn't get around or over, or we found a better opportunity. That's part of the game. So you want to be focused, but flexible enough to realize that you only control what you're doing. You don't control what competitors are doing. You don't control what the market's doing. And I should also point out that this environment we're in right now is awesome. When I say that for startups, the traditional things aren't working. We're seeing a slowdown. People are open to new things. It's going to change. Something's going to be different. People are looking for better, faster, cheaper. That's exactly the catalyst an entrepreneur needs to go out there and carve their own path and get in the middle of a transaction. So when economies go on gangbusters, people aren't worried about trying something new. Hey, what I have is working. Don't worry about it. But now, right now, is exactly when you've got to strike.
Right, and that's that whole necessity is the mother of invention adage, isn't it? Right there.
It is.
Yeah, cool. I think the thing I take most from what you've just shared with us, Tim, is probably that for people who are putting off starting their business or going on that journey or getting into business, I often hear a lot of people that they'll talk about it for a while, but their excuse will be something like, I'm just trying to figure out the pathway in order to get, I know what I want to achieve, but I haven't quite figured out how to do it. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, what you've just said is almost, hey, look, that really doesn't matter.
Well, so part of the thing is what we're talking about is there's a couple of things here. One of them is there a need in the marketplace? Forget about how cool your product is. And let's say we're talking software, or it could be a physical product or managed service or hybrid or whatever it is. Is there a real need for the product? If it's a B2C or a B2B sale, does it really add value? Does it, raise revenue, cut costs, make it more efficient? Is it really needed? Forget about whether or not you like it. And then the other one to that point is it's so easy right now to go try. I can't tell you how many times now on some of our new companies, we offer products and services we haven't even created yet. We're just testing demand. Hey, is somebody interested? Was somebody going to click on that? Wow, okay. If you want it, by God, we're going to build it, as an example. Now, we don't go overboard with that, but that's part of the testing. But to your point, if you go back to what we said a little bit ago, the market, everything's in flux constantly, and there's always going to be changes to your business plan. So to me, it's the first step. Take the first step, start testing. If you want to A/B test or however you want to frame it, go get in the marketplace. And I use a quote constantly from Sam Walton of Walmart. If you're ever confused about what to do next, just go talk to a customer. So literally, go find that customer segment you want. I happen to like small business to midsize because they're open to talk to you. The sales cycle is relatively short, and it's not going to be a huge dollar. Enterprise sale, man, that's a long and involved, sorted. I mean, that's a hell of a process, right? So to that end, go talk to customers, and whether it's a hero customer, whatever you want to call it. And what I always say to those people is, hey, Mr. Customer, I think I have a product that might fit with you. If you're willing to, I'd love to help build it with you. And that's a great open conversation. They know what they're getting into. You do too. And together, again, because you're not trying to make money on that first customer. You're just trying to figure out, is the product market fit there? Is this a market that makes sense or not? The other one is, and I know I'm rambling on here, is I always like to be the best in a small segment. So I don't want to be, one of 100 guys selling into the broad market. Can we take a subset of the market, a segment of the market, and say, we're the best at whatever it is. We're the best at color picking on websites for small to mid-sized businesses in New Zealand. Oh, we're the number one. Oh, that's the guys I want to go with. That to me is a much easier way to position and brand yourself than saying, we do colors on websites. You name it, we do it. Whoever you are, we can take care of you. That's not a compelling message.
Wow. People, if you're listening, which you should be, there's just so many nuggets of wisdom here. Forget startup school, forget the accelerators. Just listen to this interview again and again and again, because there's some really deep stuff in there, and I really appreciate that, Tim. Now, just to finish off, I'd love it if you could describe a bit about how you came to be involved with Blackpearl and Nick and the team. Again, I just think it's fantastic. We've got a New Zealand-made, Wellington-born tech startup. You running your own NASDAQ listed, behemoth. Been doing this for many, many years. I'm sure your plate is just overfull all the time. How does it fit into your life plan to get involved with a company like Blackpearl, to take time to do things like this, come back down to New Zealand, help it get listed, and as you said, working on not just Blackpearl, for example, but many, many other startups at the same time. How does it all work for you?
Well, so I came down here, had a mutual friend I used to work with at NSIT. I came to visit him. He's in the Northland, and one of his friends was Nick. And so I happened to be down in the, I think I was actually in Queenstown, arranged a meeting, and he started talking to me about the business. And I was actually less about the business. I'm more about the individual. Are you passionate? Are you excited about what you're going to do? Are you going to be willing to walk through the wilderness, as we like to say, with bare feet in bad weather for a long time? Because I've never had an easy startup. I've never had an overnight success. Is this an individual that's going to stay with it long enough to see success? And that's what I saw with Nick. Here's a guy who was willing to do anything under the sun to go be successful. Oh, so we got that. Now tell me about the business. Again, knowing the business is going to morph and change over time. The business that Blackpearl was 3 years ago is radically different than it was now. We've got a product to market fit in small business. We were after enterprise sales back then. That was a bad fit and too long of a sales cycle. So we've been able to adjust that. And because of that, I formed a great partnership with Nick. And I'd love to actually, over the next 5 or 10 years, get involved with more New Zealand startups, because the world is globalized, and it doesn't matter where you're at. If you've got a good idea and a good go-to-market path, you can be successful. It is really not about where you're physically located. We keep saying that, but I think COVID put that on steroids, and it just proved out that nobody cares.
Well, I think we're going to call it quits there, Tim, because again, just thank you so much for those pearls of wisdom, black pearls of wisdom, I guess. New Zealand entrepreneurs, you heard it from the man himself. Let's get busy, let's get innovative, let's do what us Kiwis are renowned for. But let's use the help people like Tim who are out there, and as you've just heard, only too willing to to find out what's going on, get involved with ideas they like, and back New Zealand businesses as well. So, hey, timing is good, I reckon. So, look, Tim, thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed your time in New Zealand. Yeah, all the best for whatever your next venture is.
Absolutely, and startups change the world. It's not big companies. It's all about startups.